Morning, folks. What a beautiful morning. Look at this, it's about 9 o'clock, and as you can see, we're not in the garden today, or not this morning anyway. We are on the north coast. We've been chatting to the fishermen. We've been walking the dog. We've been doing our daily exercise. As you may not know, the guidelines have changed yet again, and now you can drive to where you want to walk the dog or do your exercise, as long, this is moral relativism, pure Satanism, as long as your walk is twice as long as your drive. Get that one. Yeah, you can't make this shit up, can you? I saw one of the Satanists doing a press release yesterday about lockdown for another 3 weeks. I suppose that's to clear the bodies from the streets and just to make sure that most of the small businesses are destroyed as best they can, you know, as quickly as possible. But I think we need to push it back. Most of the people that I've spoken to are sure there's something not right going on, but they're not sure what it is, and they're so heavily indoctrinated, and I don't mean that in a nasty way to anybody. At some point you will wake up, but people have had it in school, you know, do what you're told, wear your uniform, be here at this particular point, be there, respect authority, and there's an excellent video of a police officer really doesn't know what to do. This man's standing up for his rights and refusing to ID. He's done nothing wrong, he's just out for exercise, but this job's worth, and it's not his fault either. Apart from, you can't be a good person and be in a position of authority or supposed authority, but apart from that, he knew what the guy was saying is right. He'd done nothing wrong. He doesn't have to ID. And, you know, at the end of the day, he was saying, you're a human being in a costume. Why do you think you've got any kind of rights over me? And he's exactly right. There's a new video, if you can stomach it, on the UK column called Slaughtered, and it's talking about the foot and mouth and the research that came out of Imperial College, which, by the way, is financed by Johns Hopkins Medical Company and Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, who want to roll out global poisons under the name vaccines. So Imperial College is producing all these fake figures. They're only models and being paid very handsomely for it. And all these order followers are just blindly doing what they're told. They've got no understanding of it. and they can't. You could see it in his face. He's normally used to people obeying his commands and doing what they're told, like children or slaves, and this guy wasn't. And his brain couldn't compute. It really couldn't, and it was so interesting to watch. When you look back and you see the lies that were told about foot and mouth, and it was just 11 million animals at least were just executed offhand, and then they were burnt and buried, and the poison that got into the environment, dioxins and all sorts from the burnings, is shocking. And it was just so that Blair could get re-elected again, because he knew he was losing the election fight. Government is inherently illegitimate. You know the old saying, the turds always float to the top of the beer barrel, and that's true. How can the most evil psychopathic, cold-hearted liars, thieves, scum be voted in every time? It doesn't matter what colour they are, whether they're red or blue. That's just a paradigm to divide and conquer. If everybody just woke up and said, we're not doing this anymore, let's face it, how many of them are there? If everybody just woke up one day and said, well, we're not doing this anymore, we're just going to have our own communities, we'll police ourselves, we'll do our thing, we won't have money anymore. I used to use tally sticks before the Normans came, you know. There was no, passing around gold and silver. The Romans and the the Romans and the Normans brought money to this country. But even then, that was real money. That was gold and silver. That wasn't this paper-based, worthless promissory notes. And if you don't know what promissory note is, it's a piece of paper that says, I promise to pay. Which means anything that you've ever paid for with that note, that pound note, that dollar, that whatever, you haven't paid for that. So you haven't paid for your house, you haven't paid for your car, you haven't paid for the food you eat, you've promised to pay. And you're at their mercy when they want it back, or you've done something wrong in their eyes, which, unless you've done any harm, isn't a wrong. Then they can just help themselves to it, which is why you're registered. You've got a birth certificate. That means that the state is, you're no longer your parents' child. Your car is registered, so you've only got beneficial use of it. See, because you're registered, the state has got beneficial use of you. What does that make you? Makes you a slave, doesn't it? So we're all slaves in this prison that we call Earth, because every system's the same, whether you think, oh, Putin's a good guy and Trump's a bad guy, or Trump's a bad guy, Putin's a good guy. Make any difference? They still think they've got authority, and they haven't. The only authority they've got is violence, because if you don't comply, they'll use violence against you. one of the tenets of Satanism is moral relativism, and this is what we're going through now, which is why that policeman knows that what he was doing was wrong, but his brain couldn't compute it because he was so indoctrinated. You know, it'll be interesting to see where this goes, but more and more people, if you watch the news from the States, people are starting to go out, people are starting to open their businesses. They're saying, screw the governor, we want to work, we need to work. And this was definitely a test. This is definitely a drill to see how people reacted. Remember, UN Agenda 21, it's 2021 next year. Alright? That calls for reducing the world's population to 500 million. That's a 7 billion people goal. I don't know if you can imagine how many billion people are. I bloody can't. You can probably see quite a few billion grains of sand on this beach. So we do need to get together. You need to start growing your own stuff. You need to start talking to people. Don't let them social distance you. And even if you do, because you're worried about this hoax beer bug, which does exist, but it's just a flu. Alright, don't believe their lies. Certainly don't believe the death figures. I mean, they're just ridiculous. Unless they're actually massacring the homeless that they were told to round up and nobody's seen since. And nobody's asking where they are. Anyway, I'm going to leave it at that. Just think about it. Look up Larkin Rose as well. He'll explain why status is status better than I can. But you'll connect so many dots, and have a look at that documentary on UK Column called Slaughtered. If you can stomach it. There's some nasty images in there, but we're all adults. You need to grow a pair if you don't like images of dead animals, because if you can't kill it, you shouldn't be eating it. Anyway, take care, love you all, God bless.